All right, welcome everyone. It's about 6:33 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Fenton Township Board meeting on this 15th day of July, 2025. I would ask everyone to please stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Gold, will you please lead us?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Heavenly Father, bless us as we gather here tonight. Help us nurture the bonds of our community. Guide us to make decisions in the best interest of the residents of the township. We pray for an end to the conflicts in the world today. We pray for the sick, the injured, and the dead. And as always, we ask these prayers in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, Mark. Thank you. Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Lorraine.
Present.
Reed is absent. Clark.
Present.
Krug is here. Kessler.
Here.
Gopel.
Here.
Tucker. You have 6 members present.
All right, thanks, Bob. I'd also like to note for the record that our Township Attorney, Jack Belzer, our Operations Manager, Tom Broker, Zoning Administrator, Mike Deem, our Fire Chief, Ryan Bolt, and our Assessor, Julia Wilson, are also present this evening. Additionally, the following Township officials are present via Zoom, our Township Engineers, Alan and Melissa Lawrence. Tom, will you detail the procedures for those attending tonight's virtual meeting?
Yes, to the members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised the meeting is being recorded to be shown on public access television, Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed. For tonight's meeting, there are 2 public hearings related to a tax exemption certificate for Miller Industries, during which public comment will be allowed. All other public comment will be taken near the end of the meeting. Meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website at fentontownship.org.
All right, thanks, Tom. All right, moving on to the first business in order is the approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, I vote yes. Clark.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Reed is absent. Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, the agenda stands approved as presented. Moving on to the next business order is the meeting minutes. Included in the packet are the meeting minutes for the July 1st regular meeting. Are there any corrections or requested revisions to these meeting minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Moving on to expenditures. Are there any questions from the board regarding any of the invoices?
We have a question about the well replacement and Fire Station 1. It seemed high to me. It was not a re-drill, it was simply new motor, new pump.
Might want to ask the chief since he's here.
Hey, Chief, tell me about the well replacement, Fire Station 1. Was it re-drilled or just a new pump and a motor?
No, I like it. Yeah, fried out the motor. I get all stuff to Tom. We're gonna turn it into the insurance company.
Okay, well, it just seemed high to me for just a motor and a pump.
Motor pump, flush, and then it's got that 100 gallon a minute. Well, it's a 100 gallon a minute pump for one. It's not like a normal well.
Okay, well, that's probably what the difference is.
So it's it's a lot bigger well than a normal household
Yeah.
well, and then it's got all the computer driven stuff inside that ramps the
Okay.
horsepower.
All right, well, I'm comparing it to a residential
Yep.
job that was done 20 years ago, so I'm out of date, but that's why I'm asking the question, all right? I'm good.
All right, thanks, Chief. Any other questions or comments?
John, if it was 20 years ago, get ready.
All right. I will entertain a motion regarding the payment of expenditures totaling $1,589,659.77 for payment.
Motion to approve the expenditures as submitted.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Reed is absent. Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Kessler.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
I vote yes. Clark.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. The expenditures stand approved as presented. Moving on to the next business order, which is public hearings. Tonight we have a proposed boundary revision, Industrial Development District number 12, Thompson Road. This is a public Hearing on the proposed expansion of the Industrial Development District Number 12 as requested by Miller Industries. Operations Manager Broker, will you please explain?
Yes, so, as the supervisor explained, this is a request to expand the boundaries of Industrial Development District Number 12 under PA 198 of 1974. All property for which exemption certificates is sought, it must be located within an established industrial development district. The existing Miller Industries facility is located in District Number 12, which was established by the board in 2001 and expanded to accommodate their expansion in 2015. So included in the packet is the letter from the applicant requesting the expansion, a survey with an updated legal description, and the public hearing notice that was published and mailed to all of the authorities, taxing authorities that levy property taxes on the subject property.
All right, thanks, Tom. Okay, I'll now open up the meeting to public comment. Is there anyone here in person that would like to address the board regarding the proposed boundary revision? Again, that at this time only about the proposed boundary revision. Okay, hearing none, I will now move to Zoom. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you come up front, ma'am?
Well,
I-
just a quick question, is the boundary, is that the current building that's going up on the 20th Street to approve that boundary, or is this new boundaries?
I'm not understanding the question.
So what it is, right now, the current building that they're already in, that they're operating out of, is within the district.
Okay,
Okay, your question is actually one that I'm gonna ask in a minute,
perfect.
and so just hang tight, because I had the same question.
Okay. Anybody else here that's present that would like to address the board? All right.
We're taking $5 side bets on where we're at.
All right. I will now move to Zoom. Is there anyone that is attending tonight via Zoom that would like to address the board? Again, this is only on the proposed boundary revision for Miller Industries. All right, hearing none, I will now close the public hearing. And we will start. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Okay.
So, is the expanded boundary just building number 2, because it appears to be 18 acres in the doohickey, and the survey shows a 35-acre parcel in the back, and it wasn't clear to me, I didn't track the legal in the ordinance, in the amendment.
It's the, Julia could probably confirm this, it's the entirety of the property that they currently own, that they own with the current facility on it, plus the property that will contain the new facility.
So only the 2 buildings, not the rest of the acreage around it.
I believe that's correct.
Let's get confirmation.
That's correct. The Hoover property is not included in that district.
Okay.
Just the Kevin Brooks property that they purchased, the one directly to the north of them.
Okay. Did that answer your question? Is that what you were going after? Do we get $5?
How about your question?
I live at that place, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on there.
So am I.
We are one of the tenants.
We know nothing.
Well, this is vacant land that they're asking for industrial, it's where, it's not vacant anymore, they've got the frame up for the new building, right?
Right.
That's what we're talking about. It's around the current building, and this is for just a tax abatement, okay? And- Yeah, I know.
North of that.
Yes.
You said north of that property.
It's north of the current one they're in. So if you know where that new shell is, it's that new shell,
North of that
probably
is
plus.
where we live.
I understand where you live, yeah. Are you on the north or south side of the road?
North or south side of Buffalo.
Are you in Mundy Township, or are you in Fenton?
Oh,
Fenton.
Fenton.
South side.
South side.
Yeah.
It has to be south side.
Our backyard is that building.
I understand.
So you live off Ray Road?
Yes.
Okay, yes, then you live on the south side.
The railroad parcel is not part of the district.
Correct.
Was
Did that answer your question, sir?
Was that a question
So-
or a statement, Mike?
The statement.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be asking.
I think he wants to know what's gonna be done with his property that he's currently a tenant on, is that correct?
Yes, thank you. That's exactly.
Okay, so I guess I
I left my crystal ball at home, so
Yeah, I don't know, it's not part of the Miller properties, but Mike, would you want to address that?
According to the newspaper article, there was a purchase agreement put in.
That's confusing, because most of that article was talking about stuff that happened in the past.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why they wrote it the way they wrote it, but they've already bought it, they're already building a building on it, we've already rezoned it back in January. So the article was confusing, so I don't blame you for being confused.
So a little bit of where we are in the process, right? The parcel that's accessed off of Ray Road is not part of what the discussion for tonight is about, right? It was part of the rezoning request, however, one of the conditions is that the industrial and commercial uses would not be allowed on that parcel, because in the master plan, that parcel is identified as low-density residential. So in order for that parcel to be used for a commercial industrial use, the master plan itself would have to be updated to change the future land use category for that. So we have no site plan, we have no applications, there are no current plans that we are aware of for development of the parcel off of Ray Road. In order for that to happen, right, there's gonna have to be a change to the master plan, right, which is a public process. It's public hearings, notices in the paper, and we will be noticing specifically for that area when the master plan, the next time we review it and discuss, because like we did with the most recent master plan, we identified certain areas in the township, and we sent out notices to everyone who were in that area so that we could get their input before changes were made to the master plan. So as of now, right, it's part of a plan, the Ray Road parcel is part of a planned unit development, but it's limited in uses to residential uses.
Did that answer your question? So basically, the reason why you weren't noticed, because it isn't part of this district, and that there is no change that could happen to your property without going through a long process, which would include updating the master plan, okay.
So I thought that was already approved from residential to commercial, the last thing.
But
Right now it's agricultural.
Yeah, right now it's ag.
Your property is
I thought it
ag.
got approved for, didn't it get approved for the commercial?
So again, right, the way how the ordinance for the planned unit development reads is that parcel, the uses that are limited to that are to continue the agricultural uses, so residential, and as I was just reminded, there's possibility for an access road to go through there that would connect to Ray Road. But that requires site plan approval. There would be, it's not something that just happens, right? There will be meetings associated with that, if that were to happen. So the current uses that are allowed on that parcel are essentially continuing what's there. They can't do, commercial, they can't do industrial there without going through a whole public planning process and changes at the township level.
For their property.
For their property.
But we can expand the industrial district right next to their property.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not going all the way next to their property. It's stopping short of that. It's just the new building.
Okay.
It's new building and probably the parking lot.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, is there any other questions or comments from the board?
Oh, I got a lot of comments, but it won't do any good, so let's just keep going.
All right. If there's no other questions, resolution number 2025-25. Clerk Krug, will you please present the resolution?
Tom, would you read that for me, please? Sure.
Very simply, to summarize, Resolution 2025-25 reestablishes Fenton Township Industrial Development District Number 12 to include the legal descriptions that are contained in the resolution, which, as stated, is the current parcel where their existing facility exists and the parcel where the new facility is being constructed.
Okay, I will entertain a motion regarding the adoption of resolution number 2025-25 as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote no. Gopal,
No.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Reed is absent, it passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right. Next under public hearings is application for industrial facilities tax exemption certificate, Miller Industries. This is a public hearing on the application of Miller Industries for an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate for their new facility. Operations Banner Broker, you just want to give it a 30,000 foot
Sure. So included in the packet, just for documentation purposes, is a copy of the notice of public hearing that was published and mailed to all taxing authorities that levy property taxes on the subject property. We did get one response, which I included in the packet. It was a letter from the Bishop Airport Authority, but their only concern was with potential height of structures within the district. And I believe the buildings are about 40 feet high. They said if it's under 100 feet, they're good. So that was the only response we got. The application form and the attachments that include the costs and equipment are included as well, a building floor plan and elevations for reference, and an exemption term worksheet which scores the application based on criteria developed by the township that we've used for previous exemption applications. So based on the 167 jobs and the $41 million investment, my recommendation is to approve the exemption for 12 years based on the worksheet that we use.
Thanks, Tom. All right, I will now open up the meeting to public comment. Is there anyone here in person that would like to address the board? And again, this is only on the application for the industrial facilities tax exemption certificate. Is there anyone present? Yes, ma'am. Do you mind coming up and coming to the podium so we can make it record?
I think we forgot Zoom the last time.
No, I did. I got Zoom.
I guess my question is, I pay my taxes. I don't understand why a business that comes into the community doesn't pay their fair share of taxes. Okay. They're a profit-making business. You mentioned in the prayer that you're hopefully doing the best for the residents of the community. They're not residents of this community. They're a business in this community. So that's I would recommend that the exemption not be approved.
Thank you. And your name?
My name is Mary Young.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that is present that would like to address the board? Yes, Chad.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chad Miller, Chad Miller, Miller Industries. We are residents of Fenton, the township, have been for my whole life, as well as my father, my brothers, sisters, and our whole family. So we certainly pay our fair share of taxes. And we believe that this is a good addition to the township, bringing lots of new jobs. So when we put this type of investment, we still pay taxes on everything that we do here. It's just we're hoping for this reduction because of what we're doing, and we hope to expand and bring more than 167 jobs. I think we're going to bring more than that long term. And we want to stay in this community, and we want to grow this business and bring good jobs for everybody. So, thanks.
Before you leave,
Thanks,
I got a question for you before you leave.
Yep.
Go ahead, Bill.
Through the grapevine, there's been word, and this is just people talking, that you're in the process of selling your industry. Is that true? It's not going to make a difference on the decision, but I'm just kind of to clear it up.
We do have partners. The family still is one of the largest owners of our business, but yes, we do have other partners through private equity.
Are they local, the private equity company?
Yeah.
Yeah, the microphone doesn't seem to be working good, Tom.
It's on. You just
It's
gotta be a
on.
little
All right,
closer.
maybe I'm not speaking into it well enough, but, so, yes, that is the case. And they are not local.
So my question is different than that. All right,
Yep.
so 41 million, 38 million for land and buildings. $3 million for equipment? What's going on with that?
Well, that's,
Seems pretty light to me. I don't know if it's not clear what my question is.
will there be more than that? I gave them what we're putting in the building. Currently, we're buying about $3 million in cranes
Is it
that
just
go in
cranes?
the building.
But that's no machinery.
No machinery. The majority of the machinery will be in our current facility.
Oh, really?
That facility will be mainly assembly. So,
Okay.
but we need cranes to lift it and set it on trucks, which you guys see.
Because I'm sure you remember, I
outside
have been
shipping.
inside your current facility, and there's
Yes.
more than $3 million of equipment sitting in Tom's office.
There is. We actually just received another piece of equipment with it, and that was $3 million.
Yeah.
So,
So
yes.
I was puzzled by that, but if you're just
Yeah.
putting cranes in and
There will be, and I added to that, there's fork trucks and
Yeah.
Brodersons and a few things like that for
Okay.
handling, but the majority of it is the cranes.
All right.
Just an observation, number one, I appreciate you coming tonight, didn't know you were gonna be here, and I think it's important for the public, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. People think that when you come to, I actually received one of these from Flint Township when I was manufacturing suntan lotions. You know, they don't look at the whole picture, they just hear that we're giving companies money, and that's really not what's happening. When companies come in and invest $100 million, $200 million, $300 million. I mean, the governor's working deals to give people tax exemptions for 20 years that are on $2 billion. So it happens, it does help. I think you're probably in a total gonna be over 250 jobs probably.
Oh, yeah, we've already hired over 150 people just this year.
And
So
every one of those people eat at our restaurants.
They live in the community.
Live in the community, pay taxes in the community. Without jobs, a lot of things couldn't happen, so.
Yeah, and we're working with Mott Community College, U of M, hiring engineers from them in apprenticeship programs for electrical and welding apprenticeship programs. So hiring kids right out of high school who aren't going to college, it's a good opportunity to get college paid for by us and get an education, but also get a trade and make more money. That's what we're doing.
Thanks, Chad.
So, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well,
Anyone? Oh,
I have a comment that I would be mad at myself forever. if
do you
I
wanna
didn't
do it
make.
during our board comment, or you wanna
I'll
do it
do
now?
it then.
Do it then, okay. Is there anyone else here in person that would like to address the board? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to, oh, yeah, go right ahead, come on up. All we need you to do is just state your name.
Tim Mitchell. I just wanted to comment. I mean, this is a big corporation, right? I work for a family business in Flint Township. In Flint, we pay our fair share of taxes. These guys can afford to pay taxes in this community, in my personal opinion. I mean, it's a $1 billion company. It's great they're bringing jobs to this area. That's fine. I argue with the fact that 167 people live in this township that work there. I mean, what about the traffic that's going to bring this community? I've talked about this in the past here, but I disagree with the master plan in general. I like the rural feel of this township, and I just feel like it's kind of getting, it's getting taken away. I mean, really, with this stuff, and I don't understand necessarily the exemptions. I mean, I understand the tax exemption, but these guys can afford to pay that stuff, to my personal opinion. I mean, and you're tripling the exemptions that you guys have in that sheet and the thing. It went from 1% to 4, I think, or 3. So this is $20 million of state equalized value that you guys are just going to exempt from, paying taxes towards other things that the community committed from. So that's all.
Thank you.
I'd encourage you to vote no. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here this evening who'd like to address the board? All right, hearing none, we will move on to Zoom. Is there anyone that's attending via Zoom tonight that would like to address the board? Again, we're restricting this just to the industrial facilities tax exemption certificate for Miller Industries. If so, unmute, wave a hand. All right. Hearing none, I will now close public hearing. Close the public hearing, and again, are there any questions or comments from the board? Bob, I'll let you start out.
No, go ahead. I'm not gonna be nice and inappropriate.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments from the board?
One thing I would point out, it's in the memo, but maybe there may be a misperception in the public. An abatement, tax exemption, for the term of the exemption, all the millages except the state education tax are cut in half. So it's not a complete elimination of taxes. They pay 50%, they pay 100% on the SET, but for the term of the agreement. And for an example, I included in the memo, for the township's millage, that equates to about $6,700 a year less we would get than without the exemption.
So that answers your question about $6,700 a year less for an investment of $50 million. We're already done with public comment. Right. Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, resolution number 2025-26. You want me to have? Tom, will you please read the resolution?
Resolution 2025-26 determines that granting the tax exemption will not impede the operation of the township or impair the financial soundness of any taxing unit. It approves the application of Miller Industries for an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate for a period of 12 years.
All right. Okay, I'll entertain a motion regarding the adoption of resolution number 2025-26 as presented.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion's been approved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Gopel,
No.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
I vote no. Reed is absent. Kessler,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, moving on to reports. Tonight, we have our fire department second quarter report. We have our Fire Chief Bolts here tonight. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Been a busy quarter. If I could, before I get into that quarter report, I would just like to put a thank you out. You've all heard we had a drowning over the weekend. Lost one of our residents on Loon Lake. It was pretty tough for the firefighters. Some of them knew the guy. But we had a lot of hardware on the ground, a lot of people out there. We were assisted by Linden PD, Argentine PD, Michigan State Patrol, Michigan State Patrol Aviation, the Genesee County Sheriff's Department, the DNR. Our fire department, the City of Fenton Fire Department, Genesee County Sheriff's Department dive team, Bay County dive team, Lapeer County dive team, Oakland County dive team, Livingston County dive team, Clinton County dive team, Wayne County dive team, Saginaw, and St. Clair dive teams. We had approximately 60 people out there looking for this gentleman for almost 6.5 hours. I believe was when I gave you the phone call that we found him.
Yep.
So, it was a tough weekend, long, busy weekend. But prayers are with the family, and hopefully they find peace with what had happened to their dad and husband. So, on with the quarter report for the second quarter of 2025. In Fenton Township, we had 16 fire incidents, 49 medical incidents, 14 hazardous incidents, 31 service calls, 69 good intent calls, and 10 false alarms for a total of 189 total incidents. You notice on the false alarms, they're almost cut in half. We're starting to figure it out. So of that 189, 27 of them were in Tyrone Township. We had 3 fires, 6 medicals, 1 hazardous incident, 7 service calls, and 10 good intent calls, for a total of 27.
Chief, I got a question for you. It looks like you got some new software.
Yes.
So I think, in days gone by, you had a key for what the different incident types mean. Because these numbers don't mean anything to me. When I see 100, a 300, 400, and it's not.
There's not a legend.
There's not a legend, there's not even in the heading where it says incident type, it doesn't.
Right.
It just says
So
100.
I have to add that in there, so
But
we
if you
took it
can,
out.
yeah.
But the key is, so like 100 are all fires, car fires, house
Yeah.
fires.
That's what I don't know. I'm just saying, if
Right.
you put that key back in, then when I look at it before
Yes.
I'm here, I'll know what we're talking about.
Yep, and I can go through it. 300 are your medical calls,
Okay.
so they're every EMS call that we run. The 400s, give me a sheet.
So you need a key too.
Chief, you had the legend on there before.
Yeah, you did. It's new software though.
Yeah, the new software, we have to add it as we go, so that's one of the things we're still working. It'll be a year in September we've got the new software, so it's working itself out. So the hazardous incidents are like power lines down, trees in the roadway.
Those are 400?
Those are Series 400s. 500 service calls would be going for carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors. Good intent calls are like assisting PD on scene, lift assists. We're starting to run a lot more lift assists. Actually, the lift assist would be on the service calls in 500. But I'll get a key made up so you have it.
What is 600? That's a big number there.
600 are good intent calls. So those are
All right, you describe them.
A 651 would be like an open burn. So we run a lot of open burns in the township. And that's one thing we gotta kinda get figured out, cause I've heard in the past, you know, people call in and they ask about open burns, 3 by 3 by 3. If your smoke bothers your neighbor, by sight, smell, or sound, we extinguish it because it's a nuisance to your neighbor. But if we get there and everything's legit and they're burning what they should be and it's a good fire, then we just say, you know, just kinda tone it down, watch the winds. If it keeps blowing in the neighbor's house, then we have to put it out. So, but we run a lot of open burns. And
So-
they get told if they have marshmallows or hot dogs there, they're okay, and I says, no, you're not. No, you're not.
So a 2 by 2 by 2, if it's,
3 by 3 by 3.
yeah, I understand that, I'm going 2 by 2 by 2.
Okay.
And sight, if the sight of it bothers a neighbor, you extinguish it?
If the flames are roaring, I mean, we have a lot of people started with gasoline.
I understand that, I'm talking a bonfire that's within the frame of your dimensions, and the neighbor calls because there's those neighbors out there.
Right, so we go and check it out. If they're following the parameters by burning kiln, dry cordwood and not building materials, papers, plastics.
So even if sight by sound by smell, if that sight bothers the neighbors, you're not gonna put it out if they're.
The decision's made when we get there. If we get there and it's not blowing into the neighbor's house, we're not gonna put it out.
Awesome, thank you.
What if it's 2 by 2 by 2 and it is blowing into the neighbor's house?
We put it out.
All right, so any smoke?
We usually have them extinguish it, cause we'll try to get an officer on scene before we roll one of the bigger trucks.
Yeah.
And then we make them put it out with their garden hose.
So
Cause that's all parameters to having an open burn. You have to have water on site in case something goes wrong. You have to be at the age of 18 and up. You can't be a bunch of kids out there burning a campfire, which we've had a lot of those, and we put them out, so,
But a 1 by 1 by 1, if it's getting smoke in your neighbor, it's going out.
yes.
Okay. Good to know. And if I
Any
offer you hot dogs and marshmallows?
I kinda laugh
Doesn't
at you. You have all been warned.
Chief, all I gotta say is I've always told the chief, and I tell Scott, our detective, or anybody that, doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, if they're seeing anything happen that's important, the last thing I would want is to not be aware if there was a resident that called me. And I just wanna tell you, chief has always honored that, so has Scott, the detective, has always kept me abreast, and I just wanna say hats off, because you guys, I know, pulled a long day. I had people calling me all day because you had a helicopter flying around.
Oh, yeah.
The chief kept me up, so I just wanted to compliment you.
Yeah,
You
Trustee
did- you
Gopel
did a hell
drove
of a
by,
job.
he was there, I mean, it was in his neighborhood, so, it was pretty sad day, so. But yeah,
I just want you to know that I didn't stay, I didn't bother him, I let him do his job. I was literally just driving by.
That's awesome.
So don't think I'm a Budinsky and getting on scene.
I don't go and bother him either, I just like to know what's happening, let him do his job. Thanks,
I
chief.
tried to drive by, but you couldn't, they had a block. I was towing a boat, I had to turn myself around, but I didn't care, cause I knew that something not good was going down.
Yeah, it was definitely not good, so,
Yeah, all our best to the family.
yes.
Thanks, chief.
Yep.
All right, next under reports is the ordinance enforcement second quarter report. We've all reviewed the report that was in our packet. Are there any questions or concerns at all? All right, are there any committee reports to be made to the board this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to communications. LoC Senior Center report. This is their June 2025 report. We've been notified that the City of Linden has provided an update on Senior Center operations for the month of June. They have indicated that they'll be sending similar reports on a regular basis. Again, we've read it. Are there any questions or concerns that the board has? Is there anybody here from LoC or from the city? I didn't see anybody walk in, so, and I certainly couldn't answer any questions, so, but. All right, we'll move on to adoption of ordinances. This is the rezoning of R24-005. This is Andy Heath, parcel number 0621400-003. This is the vacant lot on Silver Lake Road from R3 to C2 with conditions. This is the second reading and vote on the adoption, and we have our zoning administrator here that's going to explain.
As we reviewed this at the last meeting, you had referred this back to the planning commission for further discussion. Part of the reason was the site conditions, right? They had already started parking boats there, which was against the current zoning ordinance for the parcel. Planning Commission held a meeting. They actually had 2 planning commissioners visit the site. They did a site inspection and found that the site was in compliance with the zoning ordinance. They made comments regarding the existing vegetation and the screening it provides. Planning Commission passed a unanimous recommendation to approve the request as presented. Also at the meeting, they reviewed a preliminary site plan and a special use permit application, which they also approved unanimously with the conditions that the rezoning be approved by the Township Board. When reviewing the site conditions, right, they were able to identify the location for the outdoor storage of boats, which was going to be limited to an acre in size. And that was one of the conditions of the special use permit, right? So it's not necessarily in the rezoning document because it is a site plan issue. It would be located on the west side of the property, closer to the railroad tracks than the township property, and away from the nearest resident on that side of the road. The township did receive a letter from that resident, right, saying that they had no issue with the request based on the existing screening and their lack of ability of actually seeing the use as proposed. I think we had an email regarding some lighting questions, right? Again, those are site plan conditions, so they wouldn't be necessarily put in the rezoning itself, but they are a condition of their site plan and special use approval. So again, the Planning Commission reviewed this, right? They followed what the master plan said, right, which is that this is identified as community commercial. Silver Lake Road itself is a major thoroughfare from Genesee County. It is considered 8 out of 10 on their Pager scale, which is probably one of the better roads in the township. A recent traffic study in 2024 for just about a quarter mile to the west of here found the existing level of service on Silver Lake Road as being level A. And the Planning Commission determined that the level of activity that would come with the proposed use of boat sales and marine sales and services would be a low impact use for the site. The seasonal nature of the traffic associated with it would not have an impact on the existing level of service on Silver Lake Road. So I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have regarding this. And again, the Planning Commission has recommended that the conditional rezoning be approved.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions or comments from the board? John, do you want to add anything?
The only thing I think is that with respect to the proposed ordinance, I would like to add some language in the second section where it's talking about outdoor storage. Because right now it does not reference the 7 conditions that were imposed by the Planning Commission in conjunction with the approval of the special use permit. So if somebody just were to pull this ordinance up and look at it, it would look like they could do outdoor storage without these 7 conditions. So I think it would just be prudent to reference them, even though internally we know that, and we don't want people drawing bad conclusions.
So it is a conditional rezoning.
Yeah.
Right, so it would have to be something that the applicant would propose as part of the text, so.
This is his language?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We can ask the applicant if he would propose that.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Did you want to ask the applicant?
If everybody's done with their questions, yeah.
Yeah.
Andy, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, but I don't have my outline with the conditions.
You want to hear him?
I was just say, do you want to read them for the record?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 1, storage shall be limited to watercraft and related equipment. 2, the storage area shall be limited to 1 acre in size. 3, all storage must be on a gravel surface. 4, preserve the existing vegetation to the south, east, and north of the site. 5, receive final site plan approval prior to storage of watercraft. 6, all repair work on watercraft shall be indoors. And 7, contingent upon Fenton Township Board of Trustees approving the conditional rezoning request. So you have to ask for it, as Mike points out, I can't tell you that's what you gotta do, so it's silly way the law is constructed. This is something you have to propose, so you gotta tell me you're proposing it.
I'm Andy Heath, the applicant for this rezoning request. I would like the rezoning request to include the 7 conditions of limit the storage to watercraft and watercraft-related accessories, to limit the size of the storage area to 1 acre, 3, limit the storage to on top of an improved gravel surface, 4, maintain vegetation to the east, south, and north, 5,
Site plan approval prior to storage. Final site.
obtain final site plan approval before the storage of boats. 6,
Repair work indoors.
repair work indoors. And 7, contingent upon the board's approval of the rezoning request as presented.
Compliment you on your memory.
I
That
was
pretty good.
stunned. You
I
got that
was,
far.
he got to 6.
I can't believe he's gonna try and go on that. Do you have,
It's been a while.
yeah, do you have a pen? Were you writing it down?
Well,
Oh, you got part of it down.
part of it.
All right.
Any other
Any other
questions?
questions at all for Andy Wise up there? All right, any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you. Hearing none, okay, I will entertain a motion regarding adoption of the proposed zoning ordinance amendment to rezone parcel number 06-21-400-003 from R3 to C2 with conditions as presented,
As amended by the applicant.
as amended by the applicant.
I will move the motion as amended by the applicant.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Kessler,
Yes.
Reed is absent, Lorraine,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
I vote no. Motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Yep.
All right, next order of business is unfinished business. This is the request for reconsideration Class C liquor license, Fenton Village Players. Good evening, gentlemen. James Belanca,
That's right. Good evening again. Nice
your
to see
attorney,
you.
is here to prepare and explain.
Thank you. With me tonight is Daniel Reagan, Chairman of Fenton Village Players. We're here again with regard to our request to have the township approve the issuance of a new quota Class C liquor license to Fenton Township Players. And I want to refer to my July 30th, 2024 letter and my June 4th, 2025 letter that we've previously submitted to the board, along with the 19 pages of letters of support from the community members and businesses in the area for your consideration. Previously, the board has given great consideration to one of our newest businesses, our new neighbor, Rosebrook Child Development Center, and its objection to the issuance of our license. And I'd like to reserve some time to respond to their objections. They're here, so I believe they have something to say. But before I do, I'd like to first just briefly talk about what we discussed at the last meeting. The last meeting, the board also gave great deference to the hypothetical future bar owner who may someday want a free license from the township, and suggested it might be prudent to save this license for a private business owner who couldn't afford a license of its own. As a liquor license attorney and a former bar and restaurant owner myself, I can tell you that if a business wants to open a restaurant and can't afford its own license, then it may not be properly capitalized to invest in a business venture like that. With that said, I recognize that this board has a duty to be considerate, to be prudent, to be cautious in its decisions, and to think of all scenarios and all possibilities. I really do respect that, and I admire that about this board, and I appreciate that you are carefully considering all perspectives. It's what you were elected to do, and you do it well. So we're here to ask you to give Fenton Village players that same consideration and concern and attention that you've given our new neighbor and the hypothetical bar owner. Because Fenton Village Players is a business that's been a staple in this community for 5 decades, not 5 weeks, not 5 months. And forgive my passion, I say this with all due respect, if any business deserves this license, it's one that's proven for over half a century that it's committed to this community and is a valuable, responsible, long-lasting part of Fenton Township. If any business deserves it, I suggest to you it's a business like ours that's been at the heart of the artistic and cultural events in the greater Fenton area and has supported this township and its businesses and its residents for over half a century. We believe that being able to utilize this license will help our viability, the viability of our business, and it will help Fenton Village Players remain a staple in the community for another 50 years. The letters of support that we've presented to you provide a perspective that wasn't discussed in great detail at the last meeting. We will be positive stewards of this license. We will represent the township and its values well, just like we have for a half a century. This license will provide us with additional revenue that we need to allow us to continue to be at the forefront of art and community events in the greater Fenton area, expand our offerings to the community at a reasonable price, and it will provide revenue that we need to make improvements to our facility and our business so that we can continue to provide the resources to the community, including people with disabilities. The revenue is not going to go to a private individual who will profit from it and put the money in their own bank account. It will go to a nonprofit community business that gives back to the community and has for 50 years. So I suggest to you that there's no better place to put this license than with Fenton Village Players. Now, as it relates to Rosebrook's objections, Rosebrook suggested to this board that the MLCC would not approve our license because Fenton Village Players was within 500 feet of Rosebrook, and Rosebrook was a school. And Rosebrook suggested to this board that a school is not defined in the liquor code, so they used their own definition for it. But Rosebrook's allegations aren't correct. MCL 436-1111, parent 9 of the Michigan Liquor Code does in fact define a school. And Rosebrook is not a school. School is defined as buildings used for school purposes to provide instruction to children in grades kindergarten through 12. If that instruction is provided by a public, private, denominational, or parochial school, except those buildings used primarily for adult education or college extension courses. Rosebrook doesn't provide instruction to grades K through 12. Moreover, and this is important, as part of the application process, the MLCC will determine if Rosebrook is a school. You don't have to agree with me. The MLCC will determine that. And if they do, then they're not going to deny our application. They're going to provide Rosebrook with notice and an opportunity to object to our application and be heard at what's called the church and school hearing that's held before the MLCC. So the important thing that I want to stress is that per the MLCC rules, the appropriate venue to address a church or school issue is not at a local township meeting, but before the MLCC, which ultimately has the responsibility to decide this issue. The township's role in a quota license approval is to determine if it's willing to consent to the issuance of a license, if it's willing to support this business. Thereafter, the MLCC will determine if we're otherwise eligible or qualified for a license. The other thing that was mentioned briefly at the last meeting, but I think it's important, is Rosebrook is not open during the times that Fenton Village Players typically has its performances. So there's no way for Rosebrook to allege that it's affecting its business, which is something they'll need to do if there is an MLCC hearing. again, Fenton Village Players has been operating here since 1972. We're a performing arts organizations focused on providing community opportunities and facilities to study, appreciate, and participate in the arts. We estimate that for the past 6 years, we've hosted over 40% of the artistic events in the greater Fenton area. Being able to utilize a liquor license will help our viability and growth. And it will help us remain a staple for another 50 years. We want to stay here. And again, the revenue isn't going to a business owner for his own purposes. It's going to this nonprofit corporation. So for these reasons, respectfully, we request that the Township Board's approval back in July of 2024 be issued to Fenton, be reinstated, and memorialized through completing the local government approval form that we've previously provided. I'd like to reserve some time if
Yep, we will
there's
do
any
that, but
objections.
I'm sure the board may have questions if you want to stay up, in case the board has questions for you. Are there any questions for the village players before you let them go?
Oh, well, I do have some questions for him, but.
So do I. Might as well do it now.
Yeah. So you are a liquor license attorney.
I am.
Are you familiar with the market in Genesee County for Class C liquor licenses?
I'm familiar with it. What do you mean?
How much are they going for?
Ranges. It's, liquor licenses in every county are different, they're valued differently, and they change quickly.
And can you talk a minute about portability of licenses within a county?
Yeah.
Because that's different than what some people may think.
Yes. Generally, a regular license, not a special license, a regular liquor license is transferable anywhere within the county, which means that someone who has a license for sale in our county, anybody could try to buy it and bring it anywhere else in the county.
Are you still allowed to take security interests in liquor licenses?
Yes, not in alcoholic inventory, but in liquor licenses.
Okay. Are you familiar with reassignment agreements?
I am.
Is that something that would be considered by the Fenton community players in this situation?
Meaning what? That in
If
what?
they're not going to use it anymore, rather than selling it, that it gets reassigned back to the township?
That's certainly, we haven't discussed that, but certainly I've seen townships and municipalities ask that before.
All right, so
And
well, you're going to have a little bit of time to sit down, so why don't you have that discussion while you got a
So
little time.
and a reassignment agreement is just that. It's an agreement under certain circumstances. Normally, they're given as security if there's a loan.
Yes.
But they are given in other situations. So I think what you're suggesting is if it's no longer used at this facility,
Correct.
that we would agree to, we would enter into agreement with the township if it's otherwise approved to transfer it back. That's what you're.
That's what I'm suggesting. I don't know that I was the only one here, so
Well, I have
I'll
a
shut up.
question. Does the village players offer food?
We offer like bags of chips.
Just chips?
Yeah, chips, candy.
Because, as we know, no food and alcohol is not a good thing.
Sure, yes.
How do we know this, Bill?
There's no kitchen currently in the facility.
It's all prepackaged.
Well, yeah, during intermissions, you have offered cookies and
Yes.
stuff like that before,
Yes,
so. Because, I mean, not just chips.
Correct, yes.
And
chips,
one
candy.
other question for it, with regards to the MLCC. This is something new to you, but you have actually went to the MLCC before and got a temporary permit for how many events?
10.
You've had 10 so far. And
Yes.
the MLCC permitted them, didn't have any objections as far as you know.
Yeah, and the way it works with those, they're called special licenses. They're
Yeah.
one-day licenses. There's up to 12 a year. And in order to obtain a special license, the MLCC requires and obtained approval of local law enforcement. So they received local law enforcement approval here. And at no point did the MLCC express any concern about Fenton Village Players' proximity to any other business. And there were no problems, there were no violations issued during those 10 performances.
Real quick, Sergeant Pritchard, You know of any issues at the venue for the Fenton Village players as far as police being called? Okay. And how long?
2 years. Was it alcohol related or not?
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? I'm gonna do this for the record, just because I wanna make sure that we're straight and I know that trustee Gopal always looks at me and says it's for business. I'm elected by the residents here, and I am only looking what I think is in the best interest of the township. I can't think of a better steward for a liquor license than Fenton Village Players. They've been here for 50 years. They've invested in our town, but I wanna make clear how I feel about it. And you've done a very good job, because I do have an issue with the school, and I think we're gonna hear about that. But it's not about selling it to or giving this to a business, that can afford to buy it. And I'm just gonna give you a 1-minute story about my history I'm sure he's well aware, I spent 17 years on the board of the Flint Institute of Music. Under that veil is the FSPA, which is the Flint School of Performing Arts. He deals with them on a daily basis, probably. We're the largest school in the country. When I left as chairman of the board, we had 3,500 students. We survived. We had the power probably to pick up a phone call and get a liquor license. We went through the process, we were denied. And the reason, what we did with our, Tom, is it 12 or 10 that we can get? I thought it was 12.
12. That's right, the special
Yeah, it's
licenses
12
are 12.
special. So we use those 12 licenses, and again, there's not a lot of criteria, so it's not like the process you're going through here to get that. So I want the board to understand that, it's not the same. We use those 12 very strategically to raise money. You said you used 10, so you haven't even used the allocation in the past of the full 12. So when I look at an institution the size of the Flint Institute of Music that could have used a full-time liquor license, we weren't able to obtain one in the sense that, and being the largest school in the country, because I remember going through the process because we were a school. We're there for performing arts. We were there for parents to watch their children do ballet and look at plays and things like that. They didn't feel it was a venue for that. So I want you to understand, it's not about, and I haven't determined how I'm gonna vote. It has nothing to do with it. I can't even, honestly, can't think of a better steward for a liquor license. I don't think it's the right venue. I think you have 10, 12 times a year that you can go out, get a permit to serve alcohol, to raise funds, to make sure you're here another 50 years. That's all I wanted you to know. It has nothing to do with that. And I do have a concern with the school, but again, it's really about, is this the best place to place a liquor license? I wish there was a separation back when you could do beer and wine. It would do the same thing for you. You probably know that. But in a facility that doesn't have, to sell liquor, that really doesn't have the facilities to even serve food, I worry about that. So that's all I want you to, that's all I wanted to say,
And I
because I
can-
can't think, I mean, I've been there, I go there.
I respect that, and I appreciate you giving that perspective. I would suggest to you that the opportunities for a small 501c3 business to generate revenue is certainly different than a large program like the one you referred to. So we are limited in how we can raise money. We want to improve the parking lot. We want to improve the facility inside to be able to provide programs more for disabled people, as just an example. And the opportunities to raise money, especially in today's world, is difficult. And so this really is an opportunity for us to do that.
Following Supervisor Lorraine's comments, you said you've used them 10 times, and if you had a license, would there be more? I mean, so the reason you're limiting it to 10 is because you're only allowed, is it 12 a year or 12?
We've used 10 thus far this year. We have the other 2 earmarked for later this year.
And you're only allowed 12 a year or 12 total? 12 a year. 12 a year. So if you had this license, So the 10 that you've used so far, not using all 12, is because you're limited in how many you can use?
Correct, we're trying to be strategic.
Okay, gotcha, okay, thank you.
Yep. James, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I guess we'll let you sit down for a second. I know that Treasurer Tucker had something he wanted you to mull over, so you can do that, and I guess we have representatives from the school.
Thank you, Pat Parker, Simon Figueroa Parker. I'm here on behalf of Rosebrook and Melanie McPeak and Scott McPeak, the owners of Rosebrook. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for recognizing when you were here last time that we didn't hear anything about it. And so letting us come back again and participate at least in the discussion. As John said, kind of a due process argument, even though I don't know if it's required in this case. We appreciate you doing that so we can come here and talk. I want to give you several points of why we have concerns with the liquor license to that location. Certainly has nothing to do with dislike for the Fenton community players. Melanie's 2 kids have been in the Fenton community players. I mean, it's, again, no disrespect whatsoever to the organization, what they do, the product that they put out, those are all good things. However, we think it's potentially the wrong location for this portion of that request of theirs, and we'll tell you why. First of all, on the school issue, I saw the letter from Jim on the school issue and the definition of school in the Liquor Control Act. I'm not doubting him on that. He's a full-time liquor license lawyer. I'm not. I'm a very, very, very part-time liquor license lawyer. John probably knows. I do some business transfers that have them involved, but not this. However, 2 specific items on that. When Melanie and Scott built this facility out, they were told by Fenton Township, you have to make it to school standards. You have to get all the school special bathrooms. You can't, this is a school. You're going to spend a lot more money because, under Fenton Township's viewpoint, this is the school. Now, possibly it doesn't meet the definition of a school under the Liquor Control Commission. I'm not sure about that, but they were told we've got to spend a lot more money because it's a school and we're building a school. So now to be told that the fact that it's a school, well, it's not a real school. It's the school for purposes of architectural control and for local requirements and the amount of money we have to spend. Yeah, it's a school for that, but it's not a school to give us any kind of protection when it comes to an application for liquor control. Now, I'd like you to think that the fact that maybe it doesn't meet the school definition for the liquor control code isn't necessarily the most important thing. The reason that there's a definition for a school in the statute for liquor control is because the legislature represented that there's kind of a mismatch between businesses that sell liquor and school kids. We recognize that here around here for the Apple Fest. It's a great community organization. It's a great community event. It's totally one which is nonprofit, run by the Catholic Church, been forever and ever. They have a beer tent, and they're careful about it. They know that the beer tent and the kids out on the rides don't mix. They've got them specially secured. They've got them completely separated from the other one. They aren't doing that because of a statute for liquor control, but I think they're doing it because they know that those 2 operations aren't naturally ones that are compatible with each other. And I think we may find that for this operation, putting a liquor license in the next door building to the daycare facility, which we were told is a school, but I think the concerns are the same. It's another thing that makes this really not the right choice for this. They're getting 12 general purpose or one-day licenses for a year. I guess maybe you've heard enough to think that there's a reason why that's not enough for them, that they need to be able to have a liquor license every day of the year. I don't know how many shows they have every year compared to the number of licenses they have. They don't have shows every day of the year. But I suggest that potentially they already have the middle ground. They can get the one-day licenses. They can get a dozen of them a year. They've done 10 so far this year. And maybe that's what they should have, and that'll address kind of everybody's concerns. There have been conflicts already between the Fenton Village players and Rosebrook. And I'm going to let Melanie talk about those in a second, but the conflicts are largely parking. There just isn't enough space to park for the plays. Just isn't. told us, well, we got a special routine, we're telling all the actors, they have to carpool to come in, but we find the cars regularly in our parking lot. And we're told that they are also in the parking lot of the boat facility to the south. When they have a full house, they can't fit on their property. That's a problem. If they're trying to have alcohol sales and generate more business and get more people in there, we consider that to be a problem. Melanie's going to tell you that there have been beer cans and other things out after there have been shows, but again, we don't have any reason to know that those are beers that were sold at these special one-day licenses. They haven't had liquor, so if there were liquor bottles, that probably wasn't it. But there are some conflicts already between the two uses, the two operations, which causes us concern. It's also a concern, and I appreciate Mr. Tucker's suggestion about maybe a conditional approval or a reassignment agreement upon certain things happening, that the worst thing that could happen with regard to this in Rosebrook is if the entity that operates there is no longer a theater business that has shows a couple times a month, but is a regular food and beverage that is open 7 days a week. That's just the wrong next-door neighbor for their facility. And once you give up his license, and, you know, John had the question about what's the price for a license in Genesee County. I'm not sure what it is myself. I've seen some relatively recently, but it's not free. It's more than this license would be. This is one of the unusual licenses, and I've never dealt with one in my career that come free from the government body because they've got an extra allocation. So that makes us different than most liquor licenses. And once it's in, the amount of control you have in the future for how it's used kind of evaporates, unless you can potentially do a reassignment agreement or something which holds it so that if they're no longer doing that same theater type operation, and maybe I would suggest there ought to be some conditions that they aren't all of a sudden serving lunch and cocktails or brunch 3 days a week because they think they can get some extra revenue and turning really into a restaurant. That if it's sold, they don't come back on the sale to come and ask you guys, do you like our new business? Is that okay? They buy a facility with a Class C license, and they can go on and operate not just a few nights a month or a certain number of nights a year with a play, but with a now fully licensed restaurant. That's our secondary concern. Melanie, tell them a little about what you've had problems as far as trash and parking.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Melanie McPeak. I'm the owner of Rosebrook Child Development Center. I did not know I would be coming here again to discuss this. I thought when we were here last time that was it. So I'm glad that less than a week ago I received a letter in the mail letting me know that you guys had a meeting about this a month ago. There's a few things. This is a lot bigger issue the more that we discuss it, obviously. As they talk about growth, as his attorney just did, I don't know how they can possibly grow. When I purchased Frats had already been allowing them for years to use their back, now my playground, for parking. While we were under construction, we continued to let them do that. They did it without asking us, but again, we supported that, but we did. There was things left there. There were beer cans. There was things left in our playground. After our first meeting here, Dan called me trying to convince me to work together with them and asked me then for permission to be parking back there. It's a good 20 cars for every show that they don't have room for back there. I let him know we're getting ready to put a playground back there. I'd appreciate it if you start to let people know that we don't want them getting used to it because and then there's gonna be children running around here all the time anyway. Then they would just use our parking lot. Then I got a brand new parking lot put in. I put things out the day after the parking lot had been laid. Somebody moved them. They had a show that night and people parked in there. That is frustrating. And that's when, again, we called Dan. We went over there that day and talked to him about it. They had the people come and move the cars. He says they send emails out telling people now not to, they can't control their patrons. They also can't control them after they have alcohol. So as a next door neighbor, they can't control what happens, how many drinks the people have, what they're gonna do to not just my property, but there's millions of dollars worth of boats there. We don't know what will happen. It's out of our control. And in allowing liquor and alcohol to be there, is first of all, they don't have the room for the growth that they're asking for. And it's just bringing in an opportunity, all kinds of different issues that I think we're not thinking of, but we know can happen. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thanks, Melanie.
Thanks for your consideration, happy to answer any questions.
The board, since we did notice, I think, Tom, it is appropriate to allow them both to talk, which we did, since we did send notices out. So is there any other questions that you have for
Well, I have a
Mr.
question,
Parker?
I don't know who it's directed to, but you mentioned as far as the, you kind of made reference as far as the liquor license, if they sold the building. Are liquor licenses assigned to buildings or entities?
Entities.
So if they moved, that liquor license wouldn't stay there anyway, correct?
They'd have to get permission to move it from Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
Right.
Because
And the other thing is, if they move out of the township and go to, say, to the city of Fenton, is that our liquor license?
No,
They can transfer it.
So they can transfer it.
go
Okay.
They can transfer it, but that would be
I'm just
something,
asking because you brought up a point that I wasn't sure on.
yeah, well, that would be part of the reassignment agreement that I'd be talking about. You know, that would be,
But they can sell it.
yeah, yeah.
As far as that, you're concerned about kids, are there kids at your facility after hours?
There are children there till 6 o'clock,
Okay.
at least every night, and they do have weekday shows there, where the actors start coming around 4. And I do, just so everybody knows, all summer long, I have children ages 6 to 12. I have 17 of them there every day. So I have school-age children there as well.
Okay, but the plays start at 7 o'clock at night, correct?
Yes, sir.
And intermission roughly goes to what, 8:30?
Yeah.
Okay, and is that where the majority of your beer?
Sales wouldn't start until 6:37.
Okay, so your concern is more using your facility or leaving issues than it being a school and it's too close to where the kids are. Am I correct with that?
It's both. In the
where
beginning,
are we-
before I was getting my licensing consultant,
Yep.
I mean, that's something in the licensing for the childcare, state of Michigan.
I understand
So
that,
that was
but-
when, so I'm fully licensed, I'm open. I didn't know that I was gonna be back here discussing this again. So now it is also about the space.
But the MLCC, I'm seeing your hours Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 6, and Fenton Village Players are Friday and Saturday 7, and Sunday at 2. So on the weekends, where there'd be an early matinee, there would be no people at your facility, am I correct in that?
They also have Thursday shows, but yes, we are not there on the weekends.
What time are the Thursday shows?
We don't have those.
You don't have
We got
Thursday
rid of
shows,
those a
okay,
few years ago.
okay. So, all right, so I don't see any potential issue where the kids are gonna run into drunk patrons leaving the play facility, okay? And the other thing is, again, I like the fact that we're not the ones that are ultimately gonna decide whether this is approved or not. And I think, as far as us denying it, where the MLCC has already issued 10 of these permits, I think it's more probably in everybody's best interest to refer it back to them and let them decide. You know, if we approve it and it doesn't get approved by the MLCC, we can still keep the license, correct?
Correct.
The process, though, of getting the temporary license is nothing like what the process is here. They don't have to go in
Well,
front
they
of a
still have to
township
meet the same
board
requirements.
or a city, what?
It's still the same requirements.
no.
that-
Oh,
So
no.
they can be,
It's a lot, well, just this process of them having to go through this is totally different than what we would have to do for the Flint Institute of Arts.
but the what I'm saying is, when they're approving it, they're looking at the same criteria that they have to meet.
Actually, what he's saying is different. He's saying the process that they would have to go through to get it issued is way more stringent than what they're doing to get the day licenses.
Okay.
Right, that's all I'm
So,
saying.
Okay.
and I mean,
Thank you for
I think that,
articulating that.
I think it cuts both ways in that sense.
Which is, I
Mhm.
see your point, but again, I think let the MLCC being the expert that they are in this.
Well, that goes to your point. Let them make that decision.
Yes. But in order for them to, it go to them,
Yes,
we would have to approve it.
that's correct.
Okay.
I do have one question before you can all stand up if you want, or just sit down. A question, when you read the Liquor Control Commission, it talked about schools being kindergarten through 12th grade. does the liquor, I mean, so the Liquor Control Commission says that anyone that, a school, because there's not a school in the state that I think that has a single building that is educating kindergartners through 12th grade. I mean, we just built a $7 million school in downtown Flint, the Flint Academy, and it's up to sixth grade now. I mean, is that not a school?
No, that is a school. It doesn't have to be K through 12, but it has to be within those parameters. It's the definition of a school.
That's what my
in the
question
code.
was.
So
That's
it has
all I
to be
wanted
a
to know, is because I
school-
was thinking,
it
wow.
could be K
then
through 5.
We don't have any schools in Michigan.
Yeah.
That was just my misunderstanding. All right. Any other questions or concerns for, any other questions from the board?
Question was posed to us.
Oh.
Yeah, he'd asked for
So
some
I
rebuttal,
can-
is what he had asked for. He tried to reserve some time, and I did ask him a question, so.
Yes. Yep, no,
At least
I-
want to
no
hear the
problem.
answer to that question.
If the township would be willing to approve a quota license to us, and we were ultimately approved by the MLCC, we would be willing to enter into a reassignment agreement to relieve the concern that other people have, so that if we no longer use that license, or I guess the terms we could review, but we would be willing to reassign it back to the township.
With the
And
concept
not-
being, as long as you are a community theater operating in Fenton Township, you get to use that license. When you're not a community theater or not operating in the township, then it comes back to Fenton Township.
Yes.
That would be the concepts that we would try and put words to, which is lawyer jobs, right? You know how many lawyers there are in this room?
Too many.
Too many.
Too many. You stole my line, Gopal.
At least I'm consistent.
I do have a question for you, and again, if there's, anybody else has any questions? The building, Attorney Parker brought up a good point, and I guess I need a little more explanation. You do talk about the need for your, for the school, and village players to, right now it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yes.
So, you're asking for a full-time liquor license for 3 days a week. And in a building that doesn't serve food, is not capable, licensed to sell food, anything else. And now it's not just that it's a school, but you're talking about growth. And I don't know if a liquor license is going to create the growth. You should know your business model. But if it only increases 30 people an evening because they want to come now and enjoy a cocktail, to me, the building now is one of the biggest reasons that I wouldn't vote for this, is because I don't think it's in the proper location. Not only is it located next to a school, but how are you going to sustain growth? Or do you have plans to move Fenton Village players to another location and that license go with it? Because to me, I've been there and I know parking's a major issue. So even if you grew 15 cars, it's gonna be an issue
So
for
it's
the
not
school.
necessarily we're basing our numbers, my letter had, based on the 10 we've already used, we're projecting between 15 and 20% increase in our revenue from the alcohol sales.
It's not growth, meaning we'll sell more tickets or we're going to expand the building, right? It's growth in the revenue generated from the.
And we would have more events. I think, Gopal, you had mentioned, we have 10, what's the ratio? That's what we actually do. We do a little over 100 right now, and of course we'd want to add in more.
What's your occupancy at that building?
155 in our main room.
What's your average nightly attendance on?
For show, it varies depending on the show, depending on how popular it is. A safe number is generally between 75 and 100 a night.
Okay, thank you.
Do you think you have a parking problem?
Oh yes, that's one of the things we would use the revenue for, is paving the parking lot so we can put up the lines. The one incident we had with Rosebook, we were able to reconfigure. We had people helping usher people in. We had sold out nights after that with no one parking anywhere other than our property, but it just took a little bit more effort on our side, but we addressed it and haven't had any
If
issues.
you can do it with, striping, that's great, but it looks like you got vacant land to the north and vacant land to the east.
Yes.
I mean, if you are wildly successful, I would think you would have an
One
opportunity
line
to
there,
get some parking lot.
Yes, exactly.
All right, any other questions or comments from the board? I want to thank you both for coming out this evening. Both sides presented very well.
Thank
So
you.
I think we can, the whole board can have it informed, we were informed, so we can, I think you can count on the vote being a well thought out vote.
Thank you.
No matter which way it goes. All right, any other questions or comments from the board?
Can I just kind of ask Jack if he has any objections, or you heard anything that kind of isn't in the best interest of the township between these two?
No, you have two good lawyers making good arguments and presenting good facts.
But
there's
they're
not-
lawyers, you're our lawyer, so
Right.
I'm asking you.
No, there's nothing that, neither one of the attorneys said that rises to a level that I think is inappropriate or wrong.
Thank you.
And it's kind of fun, because I gotta tell you, this is not anything I ever would dream that we would have this level of debate on. You know, just you tell me I'm gonna be a township treasurer or whatever, you just, I mean, I love Pat Parker, everybody knows that. We've been doing business deals for 40 years, and he's just as good of a human as he is a lawyer. I don't know this gentleman, but I can tell you he knows what he's talking about, because I was testing him a little bit. He knows that, and he is a liquor lawyer. I could tell from the answers that he gave me that he knows what he's talking about. So both of them, I agree with what everybody said. I feel like I'm a judge sitting up here with two great lawyers. I got F. Lee Bailey and who was the other one in the Snopes trial? I don't remember. Whatever. Two good lawyers. So I applaud everybody. It's not an easy issue. I mean, it's not. It's just not an easy issue, and that's what we get paid the big bucks for. Make the tough calls.
Chief, that was going to be my last person to
Here
bring up.
here comes the law.
Chief, I'd like to hear your opinion on,
Well, you know how I am with alcohol and venues and building size. So again, getting over 100 occupants, they're gonna have to be suppressed. So if there's any venues being held there now or until this is cleared up, they cannot have more than 100 occupants in that building without a suppression system.
Is that with liquor or just?
That's with any alcohol.
Okay.
That's with any alcohol.
But that's alcohol dependent on that?
Correct.
Okay.
So there's gonna be a bunch of reviews they'll have to go
so
through the
there's
fire
no
department.
sprinkler in the building?
There is no sprinkler in that building.
So you're saying if they don't have liquor, they can have more than 100 people?
Truthfully, so it falls under, I'd have to look at the numbers on it that they have versus exit doors and all that stuff. So back in the day, that building was what was the original use group of that building?
The Masonic Hall.
Masonic
I was
Temple.
gonna say, yeah, it was a
Masonic Temple. So,
Yeah.
and it was under the 100 occupant back when we started with the IFC. So one of the things we'd have to review is what their occupant load is, which also falls under their parking space and everything else is what's allowed to be in that building.
But
So
does alcohol change the numbers? That's what
alcohol changes the numbers drastically.
Why? Do you know
Because if you are inebriated and you can't make exit if the alarm goes off or if a fire starts. I have a gentleman sitting here almost in the front row that we've been through the same incidents with. At his
Oh, we
brewery.
did.
So, believe me, it's something that we need to very carefully look at.
Something for them to consider.
Absolutely consider, because the suppression system isn't cheap.
Well, it's not considered, correct? So whether we do it or
No,
the
I'm just
state does
talking
it.
if it's past limiting attendance versus.
Well, and
you know,
that's
selling.
employees and occupants
Yeah, I
at that
understand.
100. So if they're doing that, even with these special permits, they're in violation
If they're
of
over
the
100.
IFC, of the
I think he
International
said
Fire
his number
Code.
was 70, but.
Pardon?
I think he said his number was 70, I don't.
70 to 100.
Yeah, so,
Well, 70 to 100 people aren't gonna fill that whole front and back parking lot.
Right.
I can tell you that right now.
do you have to sign off on liquor licenses when they're issued by the state?
No, because when, we don't do anything until the review's done on the building, if they're gonna host or have a venue in there.
But who does the review on the building, you or liquor control? Or both?
I'll do the review for the township for the occupancy and for the use group. And then we'll go from there versus, what they can put in that building for occupancy.
So this is basically, if it's approved and you're gonna go and do your inspection, you're gonna throw a plaque limited occupancy 100.
Correct.
Then that's up to them to figure out how to keep it under 100.
Right, are they gonna put a bar in there, are they gonna put a moving bar in? There's a lot of moving parts to this, you just can't open a building and throw booze in it and say, okay, we're having a venue. Doesn't work like that. So there's more steps they have to take to get to that liquor license.
Well, there's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole approval process.
Yeah, so our approval for the township will be after they come back. If they can get approved for it, then we will review it
When you
for
look
load
at that whole approval process, the township approval is about this much, and the liquor control approval is about that much. And I'm not sure who does what, because I'm kind of like Pat. I know enough to be dangerous about it. I don't profess to be an expert in it. I've been through it enough. I could tell Pat a story that would entertain him about when I was a baby lawyer and Lynn Laddie and I in liquor control, but we'll do that some other day.
Lynn Laddie, that's
Well, they're difficult. They're extremely difficult to deal with, and they're not always rational, so.
No, I just wanted to let you guys know there's more moving parts to this.
Yeah.
Thank you. You can always go and listen to Pat on the weekend.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't blame you. He's an excellent singer as well as a
and
guitar
he
dude.
can play a
so,
guitar.
yeah.
Come on up, Julie.
Come on down.
Oh, Julie, Julie, all right, we might as well open it right
I
up.
have a couple things, because I need to clear a few things up, because everybody keeps talking about a school. The occupancy of that building is a daycare facility. When she's talking about, people were referencing what she had to do, referencing a school as an example, that has to deal with the building code. And it's a commercial construction when you are doing a business, and there are certain other rules that you have to follow versus residential rules that you have to follow. And that's why I think the whole name of a school got brought into this. It's because of what's demanded by the building code, not the occupancy of that building. The occupancy is a daycare. I just wanted to make.
So there's no difference between construction code. Mike, can you address this? Because there's gotta be, I know I looked at the plans and the code was definitely different because the stalls were gonna be opened and.
Yeah, so it's not a school, right? If it were a school, it would have been reviewed by the state of Michigan, right? So our own building department did the reviews of it. So for the building code aspect of it, right? So it's not a school. We've never called it a school, right? We've never told them it's a school, right? And we've applied the building code, plumbing code, mechanical code, and electrical code as is appropriate. So that's.
So what you're saying is the building code requires them to meet some of the criteria?
Yeah, I mean, it requires that the bathroom stalls have doors on them.
Okay.
Right, and that's essentially what the question was. They didn't want to put doors on the bathroom stalls.
I guess only because you spoke up, you're saying that you've been inspected by this state and they say you're a school?
She's daycare license, and that's a state inspection.
Okay.
And a state license.
All right, gotcha. I just wanted to
That's,
make sure.
we're in agreement? Okay, all right.
Well, we have knocked this nail all the way through the other side of the way. So, again, I think you're gonna get it's a well thought out, that's one thing I have to commend this board for. We have one of the best boards, and I've been to a lot of board meetings, and the residents should be proud. From left to right, you've got some of the
He
best.
started with you with left.
This is right.
Now, if you're from there,
That's left.
from
Right.
their
It's all about
perspective,
perspective.
from their
All on your
perspective,
left.
you're the left.
You're
All
right.
right, any other questions from the comments
You are
from the
right.
board?
You are right, Mike.
He's as far right as he can be at this table.
Oh, my God. Okay, resolution number 2025-27. Clerk Krug, will you please present the resolution?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Part of the resolution is recommending or not recommending. What is the board's wishes?
Well, I would suggest presenting the resolution saying that it is recommended for approval, and then if that fails,
We have to state a reason.
then redo it with not recommended with reasons.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Resolution 2025-27 resolves that the application from Fenton Village Players of Fenton, Michigan for a new quota Class C liquor license to be located at 14197 Torrey Road, Fenton, Michigan, 48430 is recommended for approval by the Michigan Liquor Control. And I'll move the resolution.
Can I Ask to amend the resolution so that it includes a requirement for a reassignment agreement if it is no longer operated as a community theater in Fenton Township.
I'm not sure the state wants that in this document.
Yeah.
But what I'm wondering is if the board approves this, could the resolution be held until such an agreement is completed? Not give it to the state until then?
I kind of like John's idea better. To add that into the resolution.
Because the resolution wording is based on a form that they actually really want us to do, and there's no room to put that in there. We could try it.
Do we have a typewriter?
Yeah.
We can try that and see if it flies.
Yeah,
If
if
they
it doesn't,
shoot-
well, then
If
we
they shoot
can-
it back to
then we
us,
can
then
deal
we'll
with it.
we'll deal with it, I guess. Okay.
I'll allow you to speak.
I can tell you how I believe it's done in other townships and municipalities. The form you're referring to is the local approval form that's prepared, it's an LCC, a liquor control code form that's submitted with our application. You could have a separate resolution that, if it's otherwise approved, that references the reassignment and that your signature on the LCC form is subject to the resolution would refer to the requirement that we also sign a reassignment agreement. Because the LCC form isn't, it doesn't, a lot of times municipalities and townships have separate resolutions.
Instead of the form?
And then they they deliver the form in conjunction with the resolution. So you could have a resolution that references our requirement to sign.
Okay. So then actually that works. We just send both documents if it's approved.
You're making a motion to.
I'm asking the mover, Bob moved it, I couldn't jump in before, so.
No.
If he'd let it be amended to that effect,
Yeah.
You
Whatever
still move
works.
it?
I'll second it then.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further questions? No. Clerk Krug, will you please call the vote?
I got a couple ideas. Oh, Kessler,
No.
Gopel,
Yes.
Reed is absent. Lorraine,
No.
Clark,
No.
I vote no. Tucker,
Yes.
motion, motion fails. Or resolution fails.
All right. I want to thank everyone for coming. Well, we're not done yet, but,
I think we need to.
Don't we need
yeah,
to do
that's right.
the other one?
That's right, we sure do. So, hold on one second here. Let me see if I can figure this out here.
Well, I'll just do this.
Yeah, just do the same thing.
Same one, not
yeah.
recommended.
Yeah.
Resolution, that application for Fenton Village Players of Fenton, Michigan for a new quota Class C liquor license be located at 14197 Torrey Road, Fenton, Michigan, 48430 is not recommended for approval by the Michigan Liquor Commission. You wanted to tack something on before I vote?
No, it doesn't need to.
So I'll move the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Kessler,
No.
No, we'd go the opposite way.
Oh, yes.
Don't tell him how to vote.
Oh, I just want to make sure you're
Wait.
leading the witness.
Wait.
I'm not leading the witness. I want to make sure everybody that voted,
we've been here too long.
yeah, we've been here too
This
long.
is a resolution to say no.
Okay.
So-
Gopel,
No.
I'm sorry. I vote yes. Reed is absent. Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Tucker.
No.
Resolution passes 4 to 2.
And
All right.
We do need
Or-
to include reasons in the form.
Does the board have to put those reasons out now, or they were stated from
I mean, we can-
reading the minutes?
We can call them from the discussion.
I think the
Wrote in there.
discussion should be plenty rather than rehashing the whole thing again. All right, moving on to the next business order is new business. This is the purchase of property. Wait a minute. Didn't we do this last meeting?
No.
No.
We sold property last meeting.
That's what we sold it last time, all right. I didn't know if I did the wrong copy and paste. All right, this is the purchase of property, Hogan Road Boat Launch. Operations Manager, will you please review?
Yes, you may recall we were working with the County Drain Commissioner's Office to get an agreement to use a piece of property that they owned on the Shiawassee River for the boat launch. And rather than agree to an easement on their property and an agreement, they have suggested they just sell that piece to the township for $1, and then we can do the agreement for the boat launch. So they're in the process of preparing a quitclaim deed to be presented to us, subject to the board's acceptance of that offer. So this is, what you have is the letter from the county, and there's also, it says easement because that's what it was drafted as originally, but then it would become the legal description of the parcel that we would own and where the boat launch would be constructed. It looks really small on the paper, but it's bigger.
All right, thanks, Tom. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
We will be able to get insurance coverage for this facility.
We'll make sure it's included.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, I will entertain a motion regarding the purchase of property from the Genesee County Drain Commissioner for the Hogan Road Boat Launch at the purchase price of $1 big as presented.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Tucker?
Yeah, punch you.
Yeah, I know, it's like-
Yes.
Lorraine?
Yes.
Gopal?
Yes.
Kessler?
Yes.
Reed is absent. Clark?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. Next under new business, proposed amendments to the 2025 Fenton Township budget. Operations Manager, will you review?
Yes, got some proposed amendments to the general fund only. The highlights of the proposed amendments include a decrease in property tax administration fees based on reprojection of total tax collections. What we had was, we had an anomalous year in '23 where a lot of people paid their '22 taxes after the first of the year and the '23 taxes before the end of the year. And so our fees went way up, and I didn't notice that situation, so I projected too high. So we're dropping it back where it belongs.
I'm trying to explain it, because I wondered how that happened. So
Yeah.
that is
It was a very strange, it typically, the percentages are the same every year, but that one year, everybody paid before the end of the year, and I can't explain why, but that's what happened. Increase in building permit revenue due to rapidly increasing building activity. Decrease in statutory revenue sharing based on current treasury projections. Increase in interest revenue based on projected investment levels and interest rates. Increase in community hall rental, as we're renting this out a lot more now. And increased operating transfers to account for the return of funds transferred to the street lighting SAD fund in '24 that was not in the original budget. On the expenditure side, increase in staff salaries based on the recently approved union contract. Decrease in staff salaries for the assessing department due to the discontinuance of a temporary position, partially offset by increases to the, based on the new union contract. And $1 million increase for contracted services for the Thompson Road project. We'll be spending more of those grant funds as that project progresses, but that is paid from the restricted fund balance. So it's part of the budget, but it doesn't hurt the budget when it goes up, I guess. The net effect of the proposed amendments is a decrease to the total fund balance of $915,100. This results in an overall budget shortfall of $1,067,000 for the year. However, $1.4 million of the budget is for the Thompson Road project, which comes from the restricted fund balance. Therefore, the unrestricted fund balance is projected to increase $333,000 based on this proposed budget amendment. And there were no budget amendments for the other funds at this time, and I respectfully request the board Adopt the amendments as presented.
You repeat that? No, sorry.
Please don't.
No, I did want to say, does
Stay
everybody
here with
understand
me.
what he said?
Lord.
That, you know, we had a large $1 million bill come from MDOT.
Right.
I just want to make sure that everybody understands.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that-
everybody
that's coming out
does.
of that restricted pot of money, so it doesn't affect our actual operating money. It's money that can only be used for that, but it still shows up in the total.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion regarding the adoption of the proposed amendments to the 2025 Fenton Township budget as presented.
Move to adopt the proposed amendments to the township budget as presented.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Lorraine,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed is absent. Motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, moving on to the next business order is board comment. Is there anyone on the board who has additional comments or concerns this evening? All right, hearing none, we will move on to public comment. This is public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. I'll now open up the meeting for public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. If you do come up, just all we'd ask is that you'd restrict yourself to about 3 minutes. Is there anyone in attendance tonight that is here and present that would like to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items? Yes, sir, come on up. All you gotta do is state your name.
Mike Vanderlip, you made reference in the budget report there about the Thompson Road project, and I was just wondering what the progress of that was and when those roundabouts and the details of that project were gonna begin.
I just got an update on that. We had a Zoom meeting with MDOT last Friday. The project is currently in phase 2 engineering and environmental. But as far as when we could actually see earth being moved, it is they said it could be as early as Q4 2026. I'm looking at Q1, Q2 2027. Is
Okay, thank you.
when you're gonna start seeing dirt being moved.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anybody else that's present this evening like to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items? Yes, our taxes.
I just wanted to let you know the boat launch parcel, that split land division has already happened. They already completed it, it's all been completed by the county and by us, so it's already a done deal with that, so you don't have to worry about any of that.
Well, thank you, Julia.
The number next year for Under Armour.
Okay. Anyone else here that would like to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items? Hearing none, I'll move on. There is nobody on Zoom except our engineer, Melissa, and Alan Lawrence. So if there's no one here or on Zoom that would like to address the board, it is now 8:16 p.m. If there's nothing else, I say good night. The meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Record.